Let me let Tallulah in the room real quick before I get started. Peace and love.
Peace and love, brother. Toledo in the building.
Toledo.
Islam.
Peace and love, man.
Islam, y'all. Peace and love.
Islam.
Thank you for coming again, loved one. You already know we appreciate you, bro, and your energy. You know what I mean?
Good seeing you, man.
Shoot, thanks for having me, man. You already know.
So this is a divine warning by Prophet Noble Jew Ali for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and principles that allude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement, which was incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive the divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege as has been existing, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of the darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mind back to their own national and divine standard, because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro alludes in Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have been recognized. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendment brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force in 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since the constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. The lion and the lamb can lay down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in the land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out, if they are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their national constitution and laws through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of men that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, economically, etc. in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things that bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the light. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into the marvelous light. From the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, Islam. There was a brother trying to get in here.
Probably brother Devon.
Just have him come back in.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, so as you can see, it was some elements in the divine warning, specifically for Brother Sykezilla, Trey Beverly, Empress Dez, and I'm not sure who else has not heard this, and this is their first time. Couple elements are the free national standards. Before I get into that, the last couple weeks, we've been going over the Bill of Rights and how there's only 10 Bill of Rights. When you say Bill of Rights, that's synonymous with saying 10 amendments. Okay. So just the bare fact that it's after 10 is fraud. And we went over that. We went over that. So I'm highlighting this because it's the first time we've read these the divine warning, and you see elements of the civics principles that he was trying to give instruction to our people. That's connected with nationality and political status, and not being looked at as chattel property. Not only because you just merely say it out your mouth, but the actions that come behind once you realize you're part of an illustrious history and culture of people. You start acting different. You start having love with your brother and sister. You start trying to form organization economically, finances, holistically, and it starts to take off. You know, that's the whole point of, Noble Drew Ali at the time he was at. That was his position relative to the people that was around that was asleep as a missionary. So we become by default ambassadors for our nation when we get this info. Another thing I wanted to highlight, as he said, if Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government, we're talking about the affairs of men. And when I say men, I'm talking about men and women. Affairs of man, right? You got ancestral pride, because that ancestral pride is tied to your name or your title, rather, your appellation or title, which has nobility, which governs how you're going to act in present day, because you don't want to be looked at, because you're a representative. Somebody going to cross you, you want them to have, oh man, he was a noble. He illuminated me. Everything was good dealings with the Moor. Every time I dealt with a Moor, right? So people that got nationalities have this type of pride and self-esteem about what they do. And that's a different mind state from the black, Negro, color, right? We just weighing the scales now as we get the other side of the fence. You can compare, right? Any questions? I want to open the floor for any questions specifically for the people I talked about earlier that heard this for the first time.
I want to say Islam to Brother Devon. Give thanks more for being a part. And yeah, man, national standards and moral principles, man. That's really what it's about. Like, you know what I mean? As far as in, like you were saying, people dealing with Moors, and you know, you don't want to do the normal and the usual stuff. You know what I mean? You already tapped into the divine, so you never want to cut yourself short. You always want to, expect to be the best, give your best, and expect the best. You know what I mean? And that's how you bring everything together. But then you'll be guided. But there's a lot of people, they give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I feel like that's the root of everything. Just because even the prophet said, if you don't do anything, proclaim your nationality. So you don't got to do nothing but proclaim it. You know what I mean? But I feel like to propel this thing where we need to go, we need to learn how to do things. He said he's gonna keep the government here long enough to teach us how to run government. He's gonna keep them here long enough for us to learn. So it's obviously not the structure of the, how they have everything set up, the taxes and this and that. It's more about regardless of what they're going through, they still do business together. They still work with each other. And, when they have their arguments and debates or whatever, it's done and it's constructural. You feel me? It's structure there. People they're not leaving the building and want to beat each other up and kill the daughter. And, you know what I mean? They just disagree, but they move forward and they still get stuff done. So that's where we at today, where we need to learn how to get through the obstacles, stop falling off, stop flip-flopping, stay true to, your decision. You made a choice. So you have to follow through.
Brother Trey Beverly, you got some thoughts over there, man? I see you over there. You over there lit, man.
No, I was just agreeing what he was saying about, basically, recognizing the situation that we in and, trying to pull out that effort just to be your best so we can, you know, put ultimately everybody in a much better situation. And I was also respecting the fact that, like he said, that, they come together and, it's agree to disagree, where it's still being civil, like you said, like nobody's doing too much, y'all gonna have to move how y'all gonna move and they express how they gonna move or they handle it however, but it's more like you said, more structured in between there and that, that's exactly what we as a people really need,
Right.
need to get back to that, that type of energy.
And I just want to do a slight recap for the new people that are on right now before I continue. We're talking about nationality and political status. So we're dealing in law of what nationality entails versus not, right? And we just read the divine warning. He's heavy talking about character and identification, not just identification, but the character goes hand in hand, right? So here's a law definition of nationality: that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or a state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance. Right? When you got love, like the brothers were saying, Brother Jerry Berry, the love, you're going to have a natural allegiance. All right. So,
That's facts.
you know,
If you give up on this, bro, if you give up on this and you give up on your brothers on this, then I don't even expect you to work hard for your family like that. Because, you know what I mean, you're supposed to already have that part sold up. And, you know what I mean, it's not really about controlling things physically and trying to control things by premeditated thoughts. It's just you can control the atmosphere, you know what I mean? That's what the more do, like right then and right now. So your whole objective is keep your house peaceful, and whatever you're supposed to do to keep your house peaceful is what you're supposed to do. But that is training and exercises. So when you go outside your house, now you know how to deal with world economics. You know what I mean? If you can't deal with the normal economics, which is household management, then I don't expect you really to be able to deal with the stuff that come with this. Because trust, we're gonna go through more stuff because this is divine. And you're gonna be tested. You thought you was tested before, you're tested now. This is the test, bro. But if you have love in your heart, then you're gonna learn. Then you're gonna live, then you're gonna grow, bro. You're gonna be better. You know how I go. Islam Morris.
yeah, Islam.
Islam to that.
Islam. And that's what we need, because when everybody got that love factor.
Islam.
Oh, Islam, you got something, universal, Empress? You got
No,
something?
I was just responding.
Okay,
Just responding.
Islam. Islam. Yeah, when you got that love vibration, everybody can just be their natural self, comfortable. Everybody individual natural talent is going to come out for the collective, right? And since I just said it like that, that's a great segue for what I was about to say, dealing with citizens, right? So Noble Jew Ali speaks about receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution, right? So, and this is recap, but at the same time, it's a good recap, and there's new people on here. So back to the law definition of citizen. A member of a free city or rural society possessing all the rights and privileges which can be enjoyed by any person under its constitution. So don't confuse, like we're talking about, exclusively the Constitution for the United States, even though it's elements in that we use, such as Article 6, which binds it to the treaties that we have dealing with international law. Diversity of citizenship, Article 3 talks about, any disputes between a U.S. citizen and a non-U.S. citizen. It's a certain jurisdictional court, supreme, or any federal level. But outside of that, we're talking about bylaws that are created by an organization of people that share the same nationality that decide to form an organization. Now you're a citizen of that drill society, a member or a citizen of a free city or a drill society, right? Citizens are members of a community aspire to a common goal to promote the general welfare and conservation of individuals as well as collective. So I mentioned collectives, that's why I went back to this. And once again, just like the last couple of weeks, a member of a nation or body politic of the sovereign state or political society who owes allegiance. See how we back to that word allegiance? We read nationality, had that keyword allegiance. Now we're reading citizen, allegiance. Because like the prophet said, if you don't do anything else, proclaim your nationality. But when you're saying you're a citizen, you're part of the collective. You're playing your part for the betterment of the whole.
My apologies. I can see the screen, but it's still on the RV Bay page. And yeah, it's still on the RV Bay page for me, but for them, they said it's blank, I guess.
What's on the RV Bay page?
I see like now it's dark. Now it's black, and it's just like a loading thing. Oh, there you go, brother.
Yeah, I had to text you because we were seeing the picture.
Okay, so y'all.
Islam is back.
Okay, Islam. So basically when I was reading the definition of citizen, y'all never saw visually or nationality.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to nationality then. So the highlighting factors is the quality and character. The highlighting factors is your nationality determines your political status. The highlighting factors is you have allegiance to your people. That's a signifying factors of nationality. I transitioned to reading the definition of citizen. The highlighting factors is a member. So when we're saying members of a temple, we're saying citizens of a temple. That's how Noble Jew Ali designed it. It wasn't just like a religious organization. It was religious and civic. Religion is for the character. The civics part is dealing with law as it pertains to citizenship. And it's a science behind that, which is called jurisprudence. All right, so a member or a citizen of a free jurial society possessing all the rights and privileges which can be enjoyed by any person under its constitution. So the constitution or bylaws, however you want to call them, of a organized group of people that share the same nationality. And they live by those constitution and bylaws. An example, Noble Jew Ali, Divine Constitution of Moorish America. We'll read this in its entirety in a second. But notice right here, Act 4, all citizens, active organization. Act 5, no organization of Moorish America. We'll get into it, but I'm just saying how he's starting it off. Organization, body politic, state, citizen. And we can use these. This is a constitution for Moorish America. Even though each particular nation state might have their own, we can use this as overall. Like this is our constitution. Just to give an example, to show you how in harmony Noble Drew Ali was. I'll try to bring, and when he makes statements of bringing us back into the fold of government, he makes these one-liner statements. I'm showing you what he tried to open the door and introduce to our people that was asleep at the time, that had no organization or structure. All right. Any questions on that before I continue? All right, so citizens are members of a community, aspire to a common goal. All right, so just know that. Members of a nation or body politic, the sovereign state or political society who owes allegiance. All right, so now y'all got a visual on that, what I was reading earlier. All right. So now that we know that, and once again, this is repetition, but there's new people on here. So I want to show you when we're saying nationality, that it's not just some quote we making up. This is one public record or a law that's in the United States stuff. As far as dealing with the Moors and how we can utilize these things to assert our position on any level, court, just in general, all period, waking our people up. So we're dealing with the Lenape Indian tribe of Delaware. And this, any person saying they're Indian, Native American, this applies. This particular one is dealing with Lenape Indian tribe. But this applies to Cherokee, Seminole, whatever quote unquote Indian you think, whatever, right? They were formerly known as the Moors. All right. And the reason I'm highlighting this again, like I said, there's new people on here, and I'm laying the foundation as far as nationality and how that determines your political status. Did the screen visually trans? Is it on the screen of Delaware codes, or is it still on the citizenship definition or definition of citizen?
It's on the screen.
On the screens.
Okay. So for all the new people, before the term Indian came, people was referring to themselves as Moors here in America. That was the terminology for the original people, the Moors in America, not Indian. All right. So when you see this, go back to the divine warning that we opened up the floor with. Get back to your divine culture. Right? Stay away from names that allude to slavery. Keep these things in mind. Once again, repetition. But there's no people on here. This is not in BC time. This is 1790. A couple brothers asserting their status. We're Moors. I'm trying to clarify the status that we free subjects of the Sultan of Morocco. It was already ruled upon that citizens of Morocco or Moors were not subject to laws governing blacks and slaves. Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Don't govern me under the Negro Acts. Those are names that allude to slavery. All right. So keep these things in mind. The headspace that Noble Drew Ali was trying to get our people back to. All right. So since we brought up the treaty, and mind you, how Moroccan-American treaty, that wasn't the name of it. It was a treaty between Morocco and the United States because of course the United States used to be the 13 colonies, and before the 13 colonies, it was one colony, and before it was one colony, it was a negotiation between our Sultan here in America, Sidi Muhammad III, and Queen Elizabeth. They traded natural resources and allowed their citizens to basically carry out jail sentences on this land called Jamestown, Louisiana, etc. So those colonies, that's how they got even here, right? So once you know that, just knowing that determines your political status, because your status is determined on what you know and how you have that reflect in real time on the earth plane. So we have a question in the chat. So basically, we were the free men and free women during the Soviet. Exactly, precisely. Did the screen transition to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787? Is everybody reading that?
Islam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Like it's a lie.
So are you saying that the Indians that came, that basically are Indians today are Moors as well? The Native Americans?
You mean like the half-breed looking
Yeah,
Cambodia-
because I heard something about that they weren't the real natives. Like they came with the Irish people or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like
so
as indentured slaves or something.
yeah, they came with the brother or one of our cousins, Genghis Khan, over here, and yeah, they're called Mongolians, but they came much later. You know, in like the 14th century, 1450s. Brother Genghis Khan was trying to, he was a ruler and trying to expand, but he ultimately got defeated. So that's the Tartary side of our empire. He was trying to expand to the Barbary side and take over, and he came through the Bering Straits, which connected Manchuria to Alaska, came down, and he brought the Mongolians with him. So he lost the war, got sent back on his way, left the Mongolians basically here to fend for themselves. So we allowed them to have the tents and the teepees while we stayed in the Taj Mahal style buildings, all the grand Moorish architecture, like the castles they just saw in Florida, stuff that didn't blew up in St. Louis and Chicago that they Area 51 out. But all that stuff used to be Taj Mahal type style buildings or Moorish architecture simply. We lived in that. We had the fly garments, the robes, the silks, turbans, and fez. We had an emperor and a sultan. Those were the Mongolians that we allowed to stay on the outskirts. Later in the game, a lot of sellout stuff started happening, and we start going to war with the modern Europeans. They took their side, and part of the psychological situation when they conquered different pockets of North America, etc., there was like, we're gonna make it seem like y'all the original people. That's gonna be in the school books, and these other people, we're gonna call them Negroes and blacks, and subjugate them and have them thinking they got shipped off a boat somewhere. So how was that?
So all right. So the universal argument lies, were there any Africans that was ported from Africa to the Americas at all?
Yeah.
Were they a part of the Moorish Empire?
No, they were running from the brutish Moors, because the Moors that were in you get a book called Ancient Amount of Britons, but the original British was Moors over there, so they was running from them. We got some in the chat. Yes, only 20 of them in Jamestown, Virginia. Right. So but as far as how they say the transatlantic slave trade, and we went over that a couple weeks ago. I'll send you that class. I recorded that. Between 1500 and 1800, they claim that they mass produced our people in ships. They haven't produced boats. Also during this time, we read a document called George Washington's Letter to the Sultan of Morocco. When we read that, he talks to our emperor here in America and is saying, we have no navy, we have nothing quite yet to be useful, So remember, this is the same crew that's claiming that they shipped us over here in boats. But they, when you start studying, you start seeing why it's a fraud because, like I just stated, they had no navy. Our Sultan and Emperor, like I want to go through in this treaty, a couple of highlights, had diplomatic negotiations with their bosses. The same crew that's saying they shipped us over here, we was talking to their bosses, trade natural resources, and even allowed them to even set up colonies over here called Jamestown, etc. All right. So how can that be the crew that's saying at the same time this is going on, we slaves though? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just kind of confusing because they confuse the history so much.
Right. That's the part. That's the only downfall. We've been so indoctrinated. So we got to keep. That's why it's good to have repetition. I've been going over this the last couple of weeks, and we gotta yeah, we've been lied to so much. We gotta get this drilled home. You know what I mean? We got something in the chat. Indigent servants were the ones on those ships that came from Hungary. Exactly. The slaves were the Slavs. So slaves did. So the cross-Atlantic slave trade, what did happen, but it was Irish.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with the Slavs being the original slaves, and we taught them through their slavery during the Moorish Empire, right?
Right. Correct.
But where can I find any history books on this video?
Oh, you got the golden.
Yeah, if somebody knows, you can just write it in the chat.
Inshallah. Yeah. I know a couple brothers, but yeah, the golden age of the Moor, the golden trade of the Moor. They came before Columbus. Just to name a few. All right, so once again, I'm not gonna read the whole treaty in its entirety. That could be homework assignment for everybody in here or whoever has not read it yet. But we have Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Barclay, all the people that we were taught are the founding fathers. You'll see how they're talking to our Sultan and calling him His Majesty. All right. The reason for that, because they were foreign and they were talking to the higher up of the Americas, North, Central, South America, the islands, Mexico. He was the head elected official of the land. So when you study international law, you'll start seeing, oh, Sultan and Your Majesty is a synonym. When you say His Majesty, you're saying Sultan or Emperor. That's one of the names. All right.
Real quick, what was the name of the Sultan during this time?
Sidi Muhammad III, and then his son.
And is he related to the so-called king today in Morocco? Are they of any relation?
Not directly. Not that I know. Possibly. I mean, we all connected in some shape, form, or fashion, but not to my direct knowledge, like as if he'll rep him like that. Like, oh, that's my ancestor. Like, I'm not sure what his mind.
Inshallah, I'll do some research.
Yeah. Matazamaji, peace and love.
Peace and love, Morris.
So,
Supreme love, sister.
Supreme love, brother.
Salam, salam.
So, one more thing I'm gonna highlight before I transition is once again the citizenship. In this treaty, we're distinguishing Moors from U.S. citizens. Back to the divine warning. Citizens of said government. Back to the definition of citizen. Right? So I'm going through it like this so we can see when we're talking government, we got to do it, not wait for somebody else. We have the tools to do it. Right? transitioning to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I'm gonna highlight some things. When you're part of the human family now, you're conscious of things such as law, ancestors, character. All right. So this is another document I would like everybody in here to read in its entirety on their own time, but I'm going to highlight some things. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act toward one another in a spirit of brotherhood. This is international law. Brotherhood, having a brotherhood. When I say brotherhood, brotherhood, sisterhood. All right. Bonds of affection, as Prophet Noble Drew Ali states in the Circle 7 Quran. When you have that, you invoke what you call divine law. This is now why would this be in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Because this is what humans do. People that have culture, self-esteem. If you don't have that and classify minority, chattel property, ward of the state, subject to Jim Crow and the Negro Acts, like you see our brothers and sisters was like, hold on, I'm not trying to be subject to that. Why? Because they have brotherhoods, sisterhoods, government, structure. They know trust, inheritance, how to structure things to pass down to their heirs as a family unit and as a community unit. Don't subject me to that. That's what the Sundry Free Moors Act is about in 1790, not 1000 BC. That was just around the corner. People on the record are people, asserting their status. All right, so human rights. All right, Article 2. Everyone is entitled to the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without any distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Your nationality determines your political status. We just read that. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under other limitations of sovereignty. So we want to be self-governing, but they say even if you're not, you still got rights as a human. But we want to be self-governing. Like the prophets say, genius citizens on how to make it happen as an organization. Even if we can make projections. We should be able to do this in X amount of time based on, okay, we getting this much dues in from the members. We established a couple businesses, they earning this much that's coming in. At this pace, we should be able to do XYZ in 2 years. That's think tank. That's genius citizens. That's showing that we working together, right? Exactly. Universal Bay. That's the mind state before the corporate thinking. Exactly, precisely. That's why we don't want to ultimately be part of the corporate state. We want to be part of a nation state, which comes with a different mind state. I like how that rhymed too. Great. All right. Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Think Second Amendment of the Constitution. To secure a free state, which we went over, a state is a community of organized people that share the same nationality, you have the right to secure that state. Article 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all forms. Article 5, no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Article 6, everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. I'm not gonna read all of them. Like I said, I'm gonna highlight some things. Everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts of violating the fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution or by law. It's a big highlight. Article 8, huge highlight. Competent national tribunals, not municipal courts. And I know this is what I'm about to say as far as the Department of State Consular Notification and Access Manual, which is instructions for all federal, state, and local law enforcement on how to deal with non-U.S. citizens, which all departments, precincts, etc., train on once a week. We're dealing with language that talks about the same thing in these manuals. Competent officers that know how to deal in international law. And it also states Article 6 of the Constitution on how, treaties are the supreme law of the land. Because you may have treaties with some of these non-U.S. citizens. That's the language in the manual. So when you start being competent in law, you start seeing how all these things saying the same story. No matter, there's a lot of bodies of law out there singing the same tune. Article 10. Everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal. In the Constitution, that's codified as jury of your own peers. Once you're part of a community, know your nationality, your peers are not black, Negro, colored. So to be fair trial, you need to have some Moors up there. Any questions on the Declaration of Human Rights? Oh, real quick, Article 15. Everyone has a right to a nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. And if they do try to be like, oh, no, that's called genocide, or they're trying to denationalize you. All right. Now, any questions on Universal Declaration of Human Rights?
Now, if they violate those rights, what are the consequences on the people that uphold the law, quote unquote?
Federal court will be a jurisdiction, and you would just push it all the way up. To an international level, but they call it exhausting your remedy. So how things are structured, and mind you, it's only like this because our people aren't organized to have courts ourselves. But like I say, if it's 8.5 billion of our people in North America, if everybody was on the same page with this and organized, we would have judges.
Hold up, you said it's the population is how much?
Don't quote me, but this 8.5 billion of our people. Oh, it's peace and love. Empress Des. Yeah, don't quote me, but it's as far as our people. When I say our people, even if they sleep, body count 8.5 billion, probably more.
Well, according to what I've read before, there's only the population in America within the boundaries of what is the United States is 250 million. So 8 billion is a surprise to me. Maybe the information I've read before is incorrect. Don't quote me, but this is the public information that I guess you could Google. So I'm not sure where that number came from, but inshallah, I'd just like to see a proof on it.
Yeah, regardless the number, like let's say we both wrong, right? The number, my point is there's a lot of our people in North America, right?
I
If
could agree. I could agree. Because you know, if we include the Spanish with us, it's definitely a large number, yeah.
right, right. So if all our people that thought they were Black, Latino, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Indian, Native American were to unite behind these principles that we've been discussing today in this meeting, all we would need to do is put 50 cents a week in the treasury, and we will have whatever that, let's say $1 for clean math. We will have instantly hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever that number is, 8 billion, 100 million, whatever. My point was we'll have that instantly in our organization.
Yeah, that is true. But the fact of the matter is, how do we reach the people and help them understand that this is what's needed without diversion? You know, because for the most part, a lot of people will look at the organization and say, "Oh, it might be another scam" and things of that nature. How do we uplift the people in a different sense and help them understand that this is actually the way?
Well, and this is my, from my perspective, I would say that as long as you don't take the perspective that we're trying to save the world, we just want to take one man and woman at a time. But as we continue to grow in the small pockets that we do have, we want to have it organized, structured to the best of our ability. Because what's going to happen is, as new people come, they want to see that, and the compound of how we grow is based on that and consistency. And like the brother said earlier, it's about, like you said, it's being noble and keeping it up, keeping that up. And then the one that's going to divinely come, going to come, because we talk about energy now. And everybody's not going to be receptive to the divine light. So we just got to keep it up and be an example. And it's going to take off.
I don't feel as if we need 8 billion people to do that.
No.
At least a strong 20,000, say, perhaps, right? That's a good enough to start a nation and become powerful within amongst self, as long as everybody is organized and cooperative.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah, so inshallah that'll be the way, but especially with understanding and definitely cooperation.
Yep, Islam. We stick together, we can make change, and yeah, we're the majority. I'm reading the chat right now. But we trending. And if everybody got that, back to the Quran lessons, that zeal, that fire, every individual person in the organization, when they come across, people in a dead state of mind, you're going to be the light. Remember, we're ambassadors. Citizens have duties and responsibilities. We read citizen in law. What makes you a citizen or being part of a government? That means you're playing your part. So to answer your question, that's how we would get to that 20,000. Is based on them principles too. Everybody committed.
And quick question. Consulate, as far as consulate goes, do we have a seat in the UN? Do we have any type of international organizations that acknowledge us as Moors, or that that can come to our aid if we're being abused our rights in America? Is there anything set up in that aspect?
That's the whole point of okay, so the UN is not a power or entity that grants anything. When you start reading international laws about self-governance, so it's all on us. The more we from the ground up create structure, protect it, and expand, because once you expand, there's more things that's necessary. Protection of assets. We need people to be muftis, or we call them muftis, or foreigners say police or whatever, but we need that sharif and officers to protect our things, and it's all on us. It's not somebody on outside of us. Because when you read the rights of indigenous people, the Inter-American Declaration, I like using the Inter-American. I don't really like using the UN because that whole situation been corrupted. But regardless, even in those declaration, the independent Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, the UN version or the Inter-American Declaration version, it talks about self-determination as a qualifying factor to even be qualified to have indigenous rights or human rights. That's the language. Remember, you got the right to a nationality. So once you organize under those principles and you have organization of the same people sharing the same nationality and the indigenous, you invoke that by the mere fact of, once again, us working together, plotting and planning, having a think tank. Okay, we're going to get this. We're going to do this. We making this right now. Okay, we on pace for this. That part of the game never stops. And then, the physical law in the physical realm is putting things in trust. Putting things in trust, rather a family unit or a community unit, is just a contract on how assets will be passed down to the heirs. In a family unit, you're going to construct that so your children will keep whatever businesses, assets going to be competent to run it. And in the community, it's going to be the trustees, such as grand sheiks, secretaries, treasurers, and the members or the beneficiaries, right? On how to keep businesses going and making sure our stuff's not subjected to probate court. So I know I said that in a long way to answer your question, but that all is under the category of doing for self, self-motivating, self-motivated communities. Any questions on that? Let me look at the chat. Let me see. All right, Brother Sight. Peace and love, Brother Sight. Yeah, exactly. Empress, generational wealth. That's how you get it, based on trust organization. Any questions before I continue? Or did I answer fully?
Yeah,
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add on with what you're saying. Like he was saying, like, how do we good way to reach the people? I think like, basically like everything you said in the sum, but like it's just them seeing that unity with us and just the melanated people. You know what I mean? Because like growing up out here, like we haven't really seen like too much solid unity between us. You know what I mean? So that fact alone, and then they come and they get the extra knowledge with it. I just think that alone is just gonna gravitate a lot of people our way. Because it's just been, it's been a lot of disconnection with us. So when people see that, it makes them comfortable. When you can go with people that can help you spiritually, level-minded, not high-headed, structured and stuff like, that's one of the things that pulled me in myself, So, yeah.
This is definitely the beginning right here. See a lot of brothers and sisters in here. Assalamu alaikum to y'all. And I'm a Muslim, so all of this is definitely new for me, but it's beautiful for me at the same time. So I definitely want to send a message as well, or help the message grow in a sense, to my Muslim brothers in the community. So this way we, inshallah, can unite under common grounds, and receive our liberty the proper way.
Wow. Oh, was you able to listen to that last recording? Did you listen to that, Brother Kasim, from last week's meeting?
No, I didn't really get a chance to. I was traveling all day, so I just got in and I said, I'm gonna tap in and see what's going on.
Yeah, whenever you do, get with me on your thoughts on that. Like, just watch it in its entirety. Just get with me, man. Appreciate that.
I got you. Hey, and I should be coming out that way soon, inshallah.
All right, Islam. Islam.
So,
So I'm gonna go into the bylaws. The Divine Constitution of Moorish America. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is the Assistant Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. I'm highlighting every time I read the word citizen, I'm gonna show some enthusiasm. Now that we covered what a citizen is, what it entails, we're talking about organized government structure. All right. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or cause falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government. All right. Now we know what that means when we're saying the bylaws, constitution of the said government, of that state, nation state, etc. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during that time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Once again, I always love highlighting uplifting acts. What that entails, pushing the info, consistency with the organization, becoming competent to get this information out in a competent way. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America. And then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part. So industrious, whoever doesn't know what that means you're part of trade and business. That means entrepreneur and honorable, right? Like the brother said in the chat. So everyone needs to strive to have some type of business that they got going on. Even if we work on a 9 to 5, get something going. It might take off where you make more money than your 9 to 5. And become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah, Islam. So, based on the foundation that was laid before we read this divine bylaws, we see the mind frame. We want the proper perspective of when Noble Jew Ali is talking about citizen and what a citizen is. All right. Any questions on that? I was going to read the chapter. Yeah, we can say this for next week. I was going to read one more chapter, chapter 2 of the Quran, Circle 7 Quran, and I was going to yield the floor. Did anybody have any thoughts or anything they wanted to share? Comments, questions? Okay. Did everybody see chapter 2 of the Quran?
Yeah.
Islam.
Education of Mary and Elizabeth in Zohan, Egypt. The son of Herod, Archelaus, reigned in Jerusalem. He was a selfish, cruel king. He put to death all those who did not honor him. He called in council all the wisest men and asked about the infant claimant to his throne. And keep in mind, when we say infant claimant, we're talking trust law, a beneficiary, a competent heir that knows he's a party to a trust. He called in council all the wise men and asked about the infant claimant to his throne. The council said that John and Jesus, or Yahshua, both were dead. Then he was satisfied. Now Joseph, Mary, and their son were down in Egypt in Zoan, and John was with his mother in the Judean hills. Elihu and Salome sent messengers in haste to find Elizabeth and John. They found them. They brought them to Zoan. Now Mary and Elizabeth were marveling much because of their deliverance, right? They had offspring. Elihu said, "It is not strange. There are no happenings. Law governs all events. From olden times, it was ordained that you should be with us, and in this sacred school be taught." Elihu, and Salome took Mary and Elizabeth out of the sacred grove nearby, where they went to teach. Elihu said to Mary and Elizabeth, "You may esteem yourself thrice blessed, for you are chosen mothers of a long-promised sons, who are ordained to lay a solid rock, a sure foundation stone, on which the temple of the perfect man shall rest, a temple that shall never be destroyed." So a solid rock, foundation stone. When we think about this thing, we're talking about unborn child that's going to come and get humanity back based on principles and character. We measure time by cycle ages. The gate to every age we deem a milestone in the journey of the race. An age has passed. The gate unto another age flies open at the touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of Allah in man. And these your sons will be the first to tell the news and teach the gospel of goodwill to men and peace on earth. A mighty work is theirs, for carnal men want not the light. They love the dark. And when the light shines, in the dark they comprehend it not. We call these sons revealers of the light. But they must have the light before they can reveal the light. They must have the light before they can reveal the light. And you must teach your sons and set their souls on fire with love and holy zeal, and make them conscious of their missions of the sons of men. Teach them that Allah and man are one, but that through carnal thoughts and words and deeds, man tore himself away from Allah, debased himself. Teach that the holy breath will make them one again, restoring harmony and peace. And everybody that's read the one-on-ones, holy breath is a synonym for truth. So you can read this sentence, teach the holy, or teach the truth that will make him one again, restoring harmony and peace. That not can make them one but love, that Allah so loved the world that he has clothed his son in flesh, that man may comprehend. The only savior of the world is love. And Jesus, son of Mary, comes to manifest that love to men. Now, love cannot manifest until its way has been prepared. And not can rend the rock and bring down lofty hills and fill the valleys up, and thus prepare the way, but purity. So the highlighting factors of purity and love. Sincere. But purity in life, men do not comprehend, and so it too come in flesh. And you, Elizabeth, are blessed, because yours is purity made flesh, and he shall pave the way for love. This age will comprehend but little of the works of purity and love, but not a word is lost, for in the book of Allah's remembrance, a registry is made of every thought and word and deed. So think Akashic records, Allah's remembrance registry. We just tapping in. And when the world is ready to receive, lo, Allah will send a messenger to open the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. Then every man of earth will read the words of life in language of his native land. And men will see the light, walk in the light, and be the light. And man again will be at one with Allah. So that was chapter 2, Circle 7, Quran, Divinely Prepared by Noble Jew Ali. Education of Mary and Elizabeth and Zohar. So when we're saying be the light, that's what we're saying when we're ambassadors of a nation state that has illustrious culture, character. The terms noble, high priest, etc. is a different space. We're dealing with character. Everybody get competent and become the light so you can spread the light. And that number we was talking about, Brother Kazim, 20,000, happened in no time.
Right.
Any questions, comments, criticisms, suggestions?
Well, I don't like to be negative, criticize. My beliefs is my beliefs. Of course, there's a lot of things we believe as Orthodox Muslims that, I think we spoke about personally. But besides that, who is this Elihu? I never heard of this person mentioned before, even in the Bible.
Yeah, he's a hierophant or a high priest, one of the adepts that was part of the temple. As we transition, you're going to see that Yahshua is going to make a tour and come across different adepts such as Elu, and others. So yeah, that's who he pretty much is.
Yeah, I just needed to understand who that person was, or if there was something left out, maybe I don't know.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was really it. But it was a good take. You know, I like what was read, for the most part.
You know, character. When we're dealing with the holy books, is meant for that, just to have character, good dealings, morality. You know, principle based chapters. Um, but yeah, I want you to, because last class was designed for you, actually, and I did some parallels with the Quran with the Q prepared
Oh,
by.
that's the lesson that you sent me.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
All right, inshallah, yeah, I'll definitely check it out, and we can have a one-on-one on that. And
Mhm.
yeah, for the for the most part, the religion of Islam, 1400 years ago, finalized the Prophet Muhammad. So we believe in that wholeheartedly because the Quran says so. So I think I asked you before, do most Moorish Americans believe in the Holy Quran that was prepared by the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam?
If they're following the teachings of Noble Jew Ali, then they should, because he talks about that it's, the movement is divinely prepared, and it's an extension of the Prophet Muhammad. The great Quran of Muhammad. So
Right.
if
We
they not,
only believe in one Quran. That's the Quran that was sent from Allah to the Prophet Muhammad. So it's like the titles is just only thing like I believe most Muslims universally will have issues with. Everything else is proof. It's hot. It's truth. It's things you can prove. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But as far as the spiritual aspect goes and the chains of, you know, the narrations, everything goes back to the finalization of the Prophet Muhammad. And his teachings should be known publicly to the Moors as well, you know. And I believe, like, in similar aspect, Noble Jew Ali, his teachings should also be, public to the Muslims as well. But like I said, it's only the discrepancies, and people will ignore it out of ignorance, because me, I'm different. I'm a free thinker. I came a long way, and even in the Muslim community, studying and learning the truth within it, because there's lies within everything. So we can't say that everything is truth just because we're upon it. We have to dissect what it is, what the truth is, and what may be something fanatic, written from some scribes, things of that nature. So, inshallah, that's my mission here, as far as to just dissect the truth. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah. And I wish you were here last week, but like I said, I sent you that video, but I can summarize. Like, we went through a couple surahs and ayats of the Quran of Muhammad, and we did a comparative analysis with the Circle 7 Quran, divinely prepared by Noble Jew Ali. And we compared that, it's talking the same language as far as in principle, being in your higher self, etc. Having good character, good dealings. And
Real 1 second to the brother Amir. It I don't feel like a lot of Muslims know about Noble Jew Ali, only because I believe he's, I guess, shunned from most of the scholars when they try to debate about if the Moorish Science Temple was actually a Muslim community. I guess once they shunned his ideology, they also shunned everything else, and it was just, you know, these people are not Muslim, so don't go near them. That's certain things that they do even with the NOI. You know what I mean? So once again, I'm a free thinker. I'm a different kind of Muslim, and I'm willing to listen and learn. You know, I don't like to be ignorant and just make judgment because I was taught something or told to do something. I don't, you know, I'm not a slave. I'm only a slave of Allah.
Mm. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's beautiful, man. It's the start of bridging the gap, you know, and like I always say, people, classic example, you know, Koreans, Japanese, they might be Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, but nationality and political status they can unite behind because of strength in that politically, economically, you know, and you know that's the whole purpose of being.
For the most part, for the most part, Islam tries to speak down on Pan-Africanism, any type of Pan-African movement, due to the fact of us not being colorist or racist. But truth be told, there's racism in every class, every community. You know, everybody's not perfect. You know, regardless of if there's a book here that says do this, doesn't mean everybody's going to follow it. So the point is, every community has their nationality.
Right.
You know, you go to the Arabs, they have a nationality, they have a league, they have, you know, people they can run to. You know, inshallah, I don't know what they're doing about the Palestinians right now, but you know, they have people they can turn to in defense of, you know, people trying to seize their land, so on and so forth. Us, that's why I asked that question, you know, as far as us being, you know, Moors, you know, I feel like the politics needs to grow, inshallah, so we can have a line of defense and, you know, in case of tyranny, because we can't super depend on the American government to do the right thing and follow their own laws. Of course, this is why I see a lot of Moors having to fight with the police officers or the enforcers of law, quote unquote, you know, because they don't want us to have these rights.
Mm.
So we definitely have to be stronger in politics. You know what I'm saying? And I'm taught, I'm a Shia Muslim, you know, so we get a lot of flack from other Muslims because the most majority of Muslims are Sunni. So point is I feel like we just need to come together and form a power base, inshallah, so we are more secure practicing our rights, our religion, things of that nature, you know, and that's what I'm here for. And it's only a few of us, you know, that are actually Muslims, are actually, because I've actually spoken to a few brothers in my community about how they feel about the Moorish Science Temple. And a lot of them just say, you know, the only issue is Noble Drew Ali claiming to be a prophet, or people probably misinterpreting that. And we can't follow that if we follow the scripture, because he came after. And after is no prophet. You know, according to the scripture, he follows it.
Well,
In the Noble Drew.
I just want to say two things. On what you're saying. For one, can you see this document on the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is called Our Authority, and this was a document that was filed. He gave the civic organization a corporate name, Moorish Science Temple of America. It was still a civic organization. He just adopted a corporate name. Now, in the governance, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, deriving its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America, to appoint and consecrate missionaries, which are just ambassadors of the prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America. So we honor all prophets, and when you watch the video, you'll see why it's important to know Arabic when you're dealing with any holy book, because it talks about how he shall be the seal. And that's what I went over, you know, last week, is for you to replace a word seal with last, and be level-headed and be scholarly and fair without having any, you know, just as a scholar. linguistics and etymology dealing with language, you cannot replace a word in Arabic that means the seal, or he will be the seal of the prophet, and say last without intelligently qualifying that when that's not what it says in language. So those are two things I wanted to state. And once again, this is to promote harmony, you know.
So what about the Ahmadiyya people, right? They believe in another prophet that came after the Prophet Muhammad. Do you guys believe in what they believe in as well? Do you guys believe in another prophet named Ahmad came after the Prophet Muhammad as well?
I'm not familiar with their ideology, but like I say, if it's a prophet is simply a messenger, you know, and he had instruction. A prophet he's a warner of the people, and he had instructions on for you to get right in that time, to save the nations, right? Just like the brother Devon Bay, I'm looking at the chat, right? The duty of the prophet to save the nations, warn them from the wrath of Allah. What is a prophet? Prophet is the thought of Allah manifested in flesh. So these things are correct and exact. And when you're talking about looking back in hindsight to see the great works of an individual, such as, right, Prophet Muhammad, Yahshua, the last to do such great work in the same vein with Noble Jew Ali in the 20s, the value of how he could try to connect you get back to your ancient ancestry, right? Your vine and fig tree. Yahshua was saying, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Get back to your ancient ways. Culture, you fail. Get back to the divine space, right? So a messenger and a warner of the people, and they leave instructions, holy books, as a measure to get back to that space. These are signs of prophets. It's not to get, you know, too spooky, or like I said, we don't want to have divisions with our people on small things. And I know, and respectfully, I'm saying they're small, in my opinion. You know, I don't want to disrespect your perspective. But yeah, I'll just say that, you know. And once again, just check out the video and let's see where you at after that, you know. But ultimately, we're trying to unite the people, man. And you know,
Like I said, that's all it's about. You know, it's a lot of Moors, black people that consider themselves black in America, and we just definitely need to unite. If this is a calling, then inshallah, like I said, we get together and, you know, we have our discrepancies about what's correct later. But as far as the law goes, the rights, the laws of the land, I believe it's very much sound. The history is very much interesting, and I believe it to be sound as well. So, you know, definitely, I've purchased a few books already, like The Torch. This is a good book. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I acknowledge the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. I acknowledge as a Muslim, right? Mm-hmm. And like I said, we spoke about him being even acknowledged as the first Muslim in America, right? Mm-hmm. So we can't. I feel like as a true Muslim, you can't not acknowledge that, regardless of how people look at it. You can't just throw it in the garbage and say, okay, he's not a part of history. That'd be totally incorrect and disrespectful. Because regardless of how you look at it, Allah sent him. Allah sent him, right? And he sent them with a purpose to wake the people up. And with his purpose started a whole bunch of other movements. So I did the history on, you know, even NOI, they came from studying more science, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? 5%ers. Right. They just expanded and, you know, started different classes. So we can't, you know, even Elijah Muhammad, people that say the same thing about him. I feel as if these people should be acknowledged for their good. And because they're black, right, in the eyes of the law, right, people are not want to acknowledge them because this is the system. They don't want our leaders to be acknowledged. You know, the people that did right for us, the people that spoke truth. They don't want them to be acknowledged even after their death, especially if they're making money off.
Brother,
So
no, not to cut your wisdom. I just want to think another brother wanted to. Brother Ma, you had some thoughts?
Nah, I'm sorry. I didn't even know I pressed the button. My bad.
Oh, okay. But yeah, yeah, brother Kasim, and the more you get intel on Noble Drew Ali and his actions, like I don't know if you're familiar with him going to the Pan American Conference in Cuba, which is an international platform, and letting him know that there's Moors out here woke, and this is before any UN was even existent. So we're talking about when you measure any other leaders that have done that, they haven't. They've been talking about NAACP, Black Negro Colored Associations, and you also need to think on why was it such opposition from FBI, CIA to break up what Noble Drew Ali was doing? Why? You have to think about these things. We're talking about he was given a path to the only remedy.
yeah, he stood for liberation. So he definitely came up with a perfect recipe for it. And that's why I said, the people in the Muslim communities, the people that consider themselves Black, they need to know about this. And it's very detrimental. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very much detrimental. So, definitely you keep teaching your thing, when it comes to the law. And, inshallah, we could just pass it on to the community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great start, man. We just can stay consistent, diligent, don't get distracted, and bring value to it,
Definitely don't let theology, separate us, because that will be the ultimate thing. And a lot of people, I like to consider them religious zombies, right? A lot of Christians are that way. They're, just ignorant to everything else because they're taught one way. So inshallah, we have to break that cycle in order to get the community together. But, like I said, it's a working effort.
Mm-hmm. Brother Islam, peace and love. I appreciate your thoughts too, Brother Kasim. You got any thoughts, Brother Devon Bay?
Islam, I'm just, enjoying the build, learning more and more also, so I can, spread the knowledge, spread the love, keep building on self as well,
Wow.
Just from what I've gathered personally so far, it is really, as we say, it's power in words. And, when people are still want to be labeled under that word, it's kind of a loss for me. It's like miss everything else when if this means what it means, then it's like there's no way around that. There's no way for me to ride on it. We all got our personal opinions and our own views. But if you see what you see and it, hey, I guess as they say, if it fits for you, until it steers you into, something wrong, which you'll never know until you get to that obstacle for real. It's always about building. But there's power in that word Black, so I ain't riding with it.
Right. Yeah, man. But like I say, the number one pecking order is the unification. So once we get the principles, all we can do is just spread the light. We can't save everybody. It's people that's ignorant to this. It's people that's going to, after you tell them in an intellectual way, scholarly way, point them in references in law, what black mean pale, what it mean politically, how I mean civil little more tools. You can introduce them to all that, and they still going to tell you I'm Black and I'm proud. So, it's back to the lessons. We get prepared that you got to have the light first to receive the light.
It's Islam.
You know what I mean? So
But that's, a confusing part, not with self, but, us as people. Because, you're not forcing anything on anybody. So that's where, you still blaze your own path. Whoever grasp it, they'll grasp it when they grasp it. But it's like how y'all, we'll say like, it's right there, there's nothing to argue about. My feelings ain't in it. This is how it is. And, we talk about breaking generational curses and we'll say how energy plays a part and how it's done been like I say, indoctrinated in us, embedded in us so bad. You know, it becomes bothersome, but like you say, just keep doing things out of love. What's in is gonna come out, it's just battles, what what you want to fight, basically still at the end of the day, what you want to fight for.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Islam.
Yeah. You gonna give up and be divided, or do what it take to hold it together. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Any other thoughts before we close out here?
No, this is a good deal. That's all I gotta say. Peace and love to you, brothers and sisters. Definitely look forward to, kicking it with you guys next week. Inshallah.
Wow. So,
Islam.
so yeah, Sunday 11. I'll send a new invite to Jerry Bay. It'll be a new ID and passcode, and we'll go from there. But peace and love. Hope everybody has a beautiful rest of their Sunday today, and have a beautiful week. Once again, tap in with me whenever throughout the week. We chop it up on any level. Peace and love. Islam.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Give thanks again for the invite.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Most definitely.